Hey, what is going on? So we are back with another episode with the Financial Mirror here. Um, as you can see, this has been a hopefully I don't know. You keep up with the news? I don't know. There's been a pretty hectic week this past week, but let's just start off by saying that if you haven't been keeping up with the news, uh, this GameStop and costs and Bed and Bath and Beyond BlackBerry stuff is absolutely nuts. So it's been a historic week, not only in the markets, uh, but but everything else that's going on currently. But if you're curious, if you're not aware of what's going on, just Google GameStop, and I promise you there will be a gazillion, trillion, million articles about everything that's going on. So look it up. But that's definitely, looking at the title, that's not what we're here for today. Actually, hold on. Let me think about it. No, I could tie this in. So oh no, where'd it go? Oh no, where did GameStop stock go? To the moon, I guess. That's what everyone's saying. Uh, or the people that are saying hold the line. Yeah, they're gonna be left wondering. Oh no, where'd it go when they lose their money? So, um, I don't know how this is gonna play out. I'm just joking, but if I don't know how to play out, we can't predict the future. But anyways, we'll see. Anything's possible, but all I can say is it's gonna be a bumpy week next week. So if your investments fluctuate, please don't be discouraged. Everything will be okay. Let's get back on track. So today's episode is all about this possibly recent. You've probably gotten this email or this snail mail or however you receive this document, right? This document. So the oh no, where'd it go is strictly about this episode is mostly about your W-2. Okay, so some of this is applicable to just life in general, but the first little part of this stream, I'm going to talk specifically about looking at your W-2 and understanding what all that information is, so that we can figure out and give you a better understanding of not just looking at this document and saying, oh well, there was all this money I made and there was all this money that went. So let's hash that out first. But today's episode is all about that earnings information from the year 2020 that shows you this lagging indicator that shows you how much money you made last year, and then how to use that information to set you up for a better 2021, not just in the sense of moving out of COVID and staying at home orders, but more importantly, your finances and how we can get you back on track if you fell off the deep end or fell into the shallow or the swimming pool or kiddie pool, whatever, swimming pool. I don't know. However you see fit for you to describe yourself. But the first thing that I want to ask you, right? So I want to start this off with a question. And it's about your emotions, your psychology, but what came to your mind, right? So you open up this W-2 and you're like, man, I can't wait to open it. All this excitement, you got your W-2, it's tax season, woohoo, baby, let's go. But then all of a sudden, you've got this little box, and this little box says wages, tips, and other compensations, right? So in layman's terms, that's going to be your gross income. And was the thought was this more than you thought that you made, or was this less than you thought that you made, or more importantly, did you have this thought that was just like, oh my goodness, I see this dollar sign, right? Like, you're like, man, like, that's so much money. If I had that right now, what would I do with it? I'd buy a new car. No, I'm just kidding. No, you wouldn't. You're better than that. So, but what would you do, right? Like, where did all that go is definitely what so many people think about. If you're like most Americans, you probably saw that huge number and you had, and possibly thought, the last time you could remember, you looked at your savings account, you looked at your checking account or your investment account, and you do not remember seeing an account that looked like that, right? So whatever that is, like, you can just fill in the blank on that. But you don't remember seeing that. And that's what I want to talk about. I really want to dig into it. So this is what we're going to discuss. We're going to discuss how to get you on track for 2021. So I use the term lagging indicator because for 2020 is over. And for some of us, that's a great feeling to know that 2020 is over. But for some you may be like, well, what can I do now so that I don't have the same financial outcome I did in 2020? And it's not too late. So we're 1 month in. It's not too late. You have 11 months ahead of you to pull together this accumulating 2021. So I'm going to first start off by breaking down the W-2. So if you have received your W-2 and you're listening to this on like right now on the live stream, thank you for joining. If you're here on the live stream, I truly appreciate it. If you're here watching this right this second, grab your W-2, look at it, go through it as I go through this. I'm not going to spend much time going through the W-2 as much because it's very simple. It's a very simplistic document, right? So I'm going to go over what each of the boxes that you really need to focus on and talk about what those are. But more importantly, grab yours if you have it. If you're listening to this on a podcast, pause for just a second, go grab it, and just follow along as we're going through this, right? So real quick, I'm going to bounce this over to my desktop, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to pull up a W-2. So as I run through this, you can sort of, like I said, I pulled this right off the IRS's website. So this is like one that I guess you could probably fill out or something. So let's just first say that your W-2 may look somewhat like this, or it may look nothing like this. Okay. So let's be clear. Some W-2s look totally different than others. So, very important that you understand that piece because but this is your wage and tax statement. So I'm going to start off right here at the left side is just admin info, right? So your employer's identification number, what they file with the government with, name, address, blah, 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 blah. All your stuff right down here, fill in the blank, Joe Blow right here. So starting right here, box 1. So box 1 is what most people look at first, second, and last. Like that's the extent of someone looking at a W-2. The next time they would look at their W-2 is when they're possibly I don't know, doing their taxes if they do them themselves, or sitting down with a tax professional, or whatever the case may be. That's probably as far as most people look. So first off, what's in box 1 is your wages, tips, compensations, as you can see. But what is that? That is the money you made. That's your gross taxable income. All right. And I'm going to show you that there's a little confusion because that's not how much money you earn. That's how much money you made. Okay. So that's your gross taxable income. So that's money before taxes, pre-tax deferrals, anything like that. That is what your federal tax bill is based off of. Okay. So like I said, don't give up yet. There's a bunch more to look at besides box 1. Got it? Okay. So let's move over to box 2. That is based off of your W-4. It is based off of the withholdings that you came up with, that you filed with your employer. And that's how much money was held out of your check. We're looking annually, so that's how much was held out in the year 2020. Okay, so it's very simple to look at. And I have a previous video on W-4 specifically on the back end of the enhancing your tax income tax knowledge video. Link is down in the description. So go look at that video if you need help filling out your W-4, if you need to know what some of that stuff is, how to fill it out, that sort of stuff. Go watch that video, fill out a W-4. That's what triggers this box 2 information. So all of that box 2 information is based off of that. Got it? All right. So moving on. Box 3, 4. So this is Social Security, is 3 and 4. Box 5 and 6 is Medicare. I'm going to cover these collectively because they're kind of the same. So your box 3 and 5, technically, your taxable pieces, that is how much your employer actually paid you. So there's a good chance, most likely there's a good chance that that number is actually higher than box 1, okay? So there's a good chance that number is higher than box 1. That's how much you actually earned. That's how much your employer paid you. Like, this is, you know, big. This is probably the biggest number. It's probably the biggest number between the 1, 3, the 3 and 5 is probably bigger than the 1. Okay, so this is a simple. Probably this is, if you added up, I guess what I'm trying to get to, if you added up your salary and you multiplied your monthly salary times 12, or you multiplied your hourly rate times 40 hours a week times the 52 weeks, whatever, this is the number you would probably come up with, is somewhere in that ballpark, not the 1, the 3 and the 5. Okay, 4 and 6 is easy to calculate because 4 is 6.2% of box 3, 6 is 1.45% of box 5. Okay, so those are easy to calculate, easy to fact check, so you can see if those are correct. Like I said, they should be correct. Most of this is pre-automated for companies. So, and then there's an additional 0.9% Medicare tax if you're a high income earner. I'm not going to get into all the specifics. Just know that's what you're looking for. I really want to focus on just what we're looking at here. So box 7 and 8 right here, Social Security tips and allocated tips. That the Social Security tips is going to be things that you reported to your employer, tips you reported to your employer. And then the allocated tips, this is additional income. This is money that your employer owes to you, right? And then box 12 is the last piece that I want to hit up, and that is for box 13 would be checked for the retirement plan. But box 12, there's a ton of codes that go in there. Feel free to take the time out. You'll see random codes in there. Take the time out, look, see where what codes your W-2 has. You can always look those up. Not hard to find, but that's going to be where a lot of your retirement plan contributions are made, and that's where you'll see those at. Okay, and then down here at the bottom is going to be your state. In that same video that's linked down the bottom, it talks about W-4. It also talks about state income tax. So if you want to talk about the differences in states, so forth and so on, go check out that video. So where did all of this go? So you saw this 1, you saw this 3 and this 5. Like, you saw the 1's the only one that we can really change, I guess you could say, but or really look at. But where did all this go? Even the 3 and the 5, where did it go? That's what we're going to discuss. That's what we're going to look at. All right. So let's flip back over 1 second. Boom. So we're back. So where did all this go? That's the part that everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know, where did my money go? I made whatever your box 3 and 5 said, and you're like, man, like, I want that money. You know? So where'd it go? So as you saw on the W-2, the numbers are you know, your earnings is exactly probably around what you thought it was. Okay, so there shouldn't be, if there's a surprise on the earnings part, this video does not help you. You need to talk to an employer, because there's a huge disconnect in what you were told you were going to make. What we really want to focus on is that tax part. So as you saw, a huge chunk of your money goes to pay your tax bill. All right, income tax is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, most people is the biggest expense for the average American. Okay, so, but you're looking at and you're like, man, I can't control that though. They want their money. Okay, you're right. They do want their money, but you can control it. So there's ways out there through tax deductions, tax credits, pre-tax deferrals on retirement plans. That these are all ways that you can help lower your tax bill, okay, or based off of your income, right? So lowering your income and decreasing your tax bill. So that's the first piece that I want you to understand, is your money first and foremost goes to taxes, income taxes specifically. So when we look at how can we control that, well, besides all those things like qualifying for tax deductions, tax credits, there's a ton of ways out there for you to begin to not be a W-2 earner, and that's being very we won't get into all that in this video. In this video, we're specifically talking about what you can control right this second with your current situation. So you as a W-2 employee, as a W-2 earner, the policies in place for income tax is the only thing that you can change besides tax deductions, tax credits, and deferrals, donations, stuff of that nature to help lower that tax bill. Okay. So utilize those, right? Most people do best with a standard deduction, but some, can do itemized deductions and get better, a lower tax bill. But all in all, you have to take control of that piece of your finance and move on from that. So the next place that your money could have gone, so income tax is number one. The next place your money could have gone is box 12. So box 12 is where you contributed to your retirement plans, and kudos to you. I'm so happy that you contributed. That's great. Great job. You contributed to your to a 401k or something of the sorts. Contributing to a pre-tax 401k is an easy way to decrease your taxable income. So that can help lower that tax bill right there off the jump. But man, that alone is, you're still looking at that gross income. You're like, even if I subtract my pre-tax and my federal withholdings and my state withholdings and all that, and my Medicare, my Social Security, like there's still a huge number right there. Like, where did all this money go? So you're right. And we're going to look at just how you can begin to understand where that money went. And there's an easy way. And it's not really that painful, but here's the point that I want to make. So there's a lot that when we talk about, New Year's resolutions, we talk about new year, new me, we talk about all this stuff, right? And the thing is that the things in your life are only going to change when you do something to change them. All right. So let me back up, actually, like rewind. First, you have to understand that there's a need for a change. Okay. So if you looked at your W-2 this year and you saw that box 1 being X number of dollars, right? And you look at that and you're like, oh, well, I made that much money, and I'm put aside this much, and my checking account looks great, my savings and my investments all look great. Perfect. That still could mean that you still have work to do, right? Or you could be where a lot of Americans are, and that you looked at it and you were like, where did all this go? And that's the part that I really want to hone in on. I want to really help out at. So the thing that you have to do is you have to first identify that you have this I'm just going to be honest, this lack of understanding of your current financial situation. So you have to first be able to identify for yourself that you are lacking in understanding your current financial situation. Once you can admit to that, once you can understand that, you can then all of a sudden say, all right, I'm going to start doing something to change it today. So this is crucial to understanding your finances. If there's something, so let's say, so I live in Hawaii. Let's say I don't know how to surf. I have no idea how to surf. But I want to surf. So I want to surf bad. Like I want to get out there and I want to surf. Do I just go grab a board, jump in the water, paddle out and jump up and I'm riding the hugest wave ever? Absolutely not. So you have to put forth some effort and you have to learn. You have to learn it. And that could mean that for just using this surfing example, that could mean that I go there and I find friends that are willing to help me that already know how to surf. they're willing to help me learn to surf? Or do I pay someone? Do I pay someone that'll teach me how to surf? Or do I watch a bunch of YouTube videos and then just go in time and time, follow my face, get back up, swim back out, and keep trying until but I'm always, and I say I am always doing something to try to learn to get what I want. I want to learn how to surf. Make sense? So it's this constant idea of you needing to, first off, understand your current situation. Using this, I'm just going to keep using my surfing example. Using that same example, I don't know how to surf. I have to first admit I don't know how to surf. I can't just be like, well, I know how to ride a snowboard, I know how to ride a wakeboard, I know how to ride a skateboard. Like, I can ride all these other boards. Why would I not be able to ride a surfboard? Perfect. Well, I should be able to just take it and go out there and surf, right? No, absolutely not. So first, I have to admit to myself, I don't know how to surf. Let me start to learn. And there's a ton of avenues to try to do that. And I have to pick which one's best for me and then go and do that. So to tie this all around and tie it all back into this finance thing is, it's crucial that you first identify that you either are not that great with finances, or you've made some really bad financial choices and you don't think that it's possible to get out of those situations, or maybe you're okay with finances, but you just want to be better. The only way to really understand that and to begin this movement forward is to first identify with yourself that you know there needs to be a change. So using that piece, using that self-drive, using that self-awareness, we can begin to understand your finances. And then the part that I want to get to is that we have to keep score. So in sports, keeping score shows us that we're winning or losing. All right. In baseball, if you score 4 runs and the opponent scores 3, you win, right? Like, you just won. So to start winning at finances, you have to keep score. You've got to keep score. I can't say that enough. You've got to keep score. So you've identified that you are in need of financial help. So that means that you looked at that W-2, you had no idea where this money went. You've got to put your finger on it. You got to, you know you paid income tax. You know that you contributed to a retirement account, but the rest of it, you have no idea where it went. You understand that you've got to understand that piece so that you can, begin to change and understand where your money's going. And finally, like, keeping score can be that indicator that shows that you're on track, that you're doing exactly what it takes to reach your financial goals. So it's easy. Doing this is easy. Keeping score is easy because all you have to do is make a budget. And wait, before you turn this off, hear me out real quick. So I know I said it, this nasty budget word. Everyone hates the word budget. I don't know why. Like, I like soapbox for a minute, but I truly enjoy making my budget. I truly enjoy challenging myself to meet those goals that I have, those shorter term goals that I have that is so gratifying to accomplish. So making a budget can be fun, but you have to flip that switch that turns a budget from being this need that I have to do, right? Like this budget is this thing I have to do every month, to this budget is this thing I want to do every month. And when you change that mindset from a requirement, just something that's required to man, this is something that truly is helpful. So something that's truly helping me, it begins to become a lot more fun. But anyways, off my soapbox. But stick with me just a second. So when budgeting, right, you're coming up with these categories. So this is how you keep score. You're budgeting, you're coming up with these categories or these buckets that you're spending in. And now you can answer that question that says, where did my money go? You have the ability to answer that question because you now know where you spent your money, first off, and you now know where you need to change to begin to, because here's the thing that I really want to drive home is that the people that are thinking, where did my money go? When you look at a W-2, that means that inside of them, there was a sense of failure because they're checking their savings, they're investing, those accounts don't look as they anticipated, right? They made this money and it didn't go where they anticipated it going because there was all these short-term gratifying things that they were going after. So the only way that you can have that feeling of guilt or that feeling of almost like self-shame, right, is that you had this W-2, you had this document that said you made this much money, and now you're looking at all of your accounts and you have nothing to show for it. Like that's where that psychology comes from. That's where that peace comes from. And you have to understand that first and foremost, you've got to get a handle on let me back up. To achieve that feeling of satisfaction, that feeling of feeling that you did it. Like that year, you made that much money, you invested this much money, you had this much fun, you did it. Like you stamped it as a perfect year, right? That happens when you've planned out your year financially through this here budget thing. So you've got to know where you're currently spending. You have to know what buckets you're currently overspending in so that you can change. You can begin to change. So really quick, I'm going to pop up and do a couple. I found these online, right? So these are not my physical cutouts. So I use Mint. If you're curious, I use Mint for budgeting. I've used EveryDollar as well. The only reason I stopped using EveryDollar is because of the fact that they charge $99 for your transactions to be automatically input from, and it might have changed since then, I don't know, but the reason I stopped was it was $99 to have my bank set up to pull those transactions in, and Mint was free. So I went with Mint. So it says EveryDollar, but it's Mint. So anyways, this is Mint, right? So from January 2014 to January 2015, here's a breakdown of someone's account out there, right? This is how it looks. So when I was saying you've got to keep score, this is your scoreboard. This is where you're wondering where that money went besides income tax and your box 12, your deferrals, your retirement account contributions, so forth and so on. This is the other place that your money's going, is all of these little buckets, all these pieces of the pie. However you budget yourself, this is how you keep score. You've got to keep score. You've got to keep score. I can't say it enough. You've got to keep score, because this is how you get yourself on track where you can feel satisfied at the end of the year knowing that you put all of your money that you earned exactly where you wanted, so that in the end you reach your financial goals. Okay, tracking. Moving over here. Taxes. So this person tracks how, their taxes, whether that be their tax bill. I really don't know. I don't know, but you can see that a majority of their money goes to taxes. Auto and transport is another huge thing. And this is a huge piece of this gal's pie right here that went to auto and transport, whatever that is. Maybe this is a car payment that they've got, right? And maybe they are way over their head in a car payment, right? And they need to cut this piece. This is a huge piece of a pie in auto and transport. Home, kids, gifts and donations. Gifts and donations is good because if it's a donation, it could possibly be a write-off and you could get a deduction for that. So health and fitness, and then other. This is one example of what one person's scoreboard looks like, right? So let's go to another one. And if you're catching this on the podcast, please, all this is a cutout of Mint category, spending by category transactions, so that we can see the scoreboard or where these finances went. So here's another one, a little bit better on home, financial, whatever financial is, bills and utilities, right? Food and dining, education, shopping, auto and transport. See, that's a huge difference in the last one and this one. Travel, other. A scoreboard, right? This is a scoreboard. This is what you're attacking. If you want to know where your money went, that is your scoreboard. All right. Oop, right. Sorry, my finger right up there. You see it? Bloop, bloop, right there. Scoreboard. Go look at it. This is what you've got to see. You've got to know this. At the end of the year, you've got to be able to see a January to December breakdown of where your money went. I'm telling you, that's how you change. Last one, every dollar. Monthly bills. Look at that. Monthly bills, rainy days, long-term, vacation, changelings. I don't like this. I don't like this breakdown personally. I do like this, that the percentages are on there, and Mint might have the percentages as well. I'll just have to go back and look at mine. I know that you can hover over a Mint one and it'll show you a breakdown. You could click it and it'll show you all the transactions or whatever. So, and that's where you begin to, and I'm gonna get to that, but these are just some examples, right? This is just someone that spent $19,000, and this is their breakdown of it. So, but this is a little thing you got to get. This is a little chart that you've got to look at so that you can understand where your money's going. All right. So that's all to say that it's there's this growing need that if you'll look at the categories that are on there, you'll be able to easily identify where you're just throwing money away, where your money is going to good use. You'll see those short-term wins, right? Like you want to, let's say that you're trying to max out your IRA account. So you're putting $500 a month into your IRA account. Every month you get to see those little short-term wins. Like, yes, another month I put 500 in, another month put 500, and you see that thing grow and grow and grow. Those are the pieces you've got to jump on. You've got to understand those pieces, okay? Once you get that, once you understand that, you can then begin to cut or trim away the parts that are not as necessary. So let's say you, in that chart, right, you have that pie chart. If you clicked on one of those little cutouts of the pie, I know on Mint and I'm probably on all of them, you click it, it'll open up and it'll show you all the transactions that were inside of that category. Open that up, and then all of a sudden you can start to see, well, holy cow, my food and dining was 90% Starbucks. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've got to control myself. All right. And that's when we get back to impulsive spending habits, so forth and so on. I did a video on that last week, so go check it out. But simple. This is the simple way to attack this. If you're looking at that chart, and I've gone through this in phases. First off, you got that W-2. Second off, you wanted to break down where all this money was going. So we did that. We saw the income tax. We saw the retirement account deferrals, that box 12 item on the W-2. And then we broke out and we looked at those categories. If you haven't been budgeting, jump on a budgeting platform and start budgeting today. All right, today. Start budgeting today. There's no better time to get control of your finances than right now, today. So jump on that. If you need help with the budget, I have multiple budgeting videos out there. Please go look at one. I'm going to very quickly, I'm going to go over a quick 50, 30, 20 approach budget just right here. There's a link in the description below for my actual video on 50, 30, 20, and go through it and check out more information. But it's very simple budgeting setup. 50% goes to essentials, housing and essentials. That's broken out. 30% goes to your housing, mortgage and rent. So mortgage or rent, excuse me. 30% would go to that of your take-home pay would go to that. 20% of the 50 goes to utilities, food, health insurance, essentials, right? Things you can't live without. You can live without gym memberships. You can work out from home. Things that you can't constitute a free alternative or lower cost alternative is not essential. Okay. Mostly free alternative. So that breaks up your 50%, 30 housing, 20% utilities, food, health insurance, those type of things. The 30% of the 50, 30, 20 is fun money or discretionary money. If you have debt, some of that 30% needs to go to debt as well. The 20% of the 50, 30, 20 is if you have debt, all of the 20% goes to debt. If you don't have debt, this is where you start to build your future. This is going into investments, into retirement accounts, things of that nature. So it's 50, 30, 20. The 50 is broken down into housing and all other essentials by 30 and 20. And then you have another 30 and 20 that goes into fund money / discretionary money / help pay off debt if you still have debt. And the faster, if all of that 30% goes to your debt, you're paying off 50% of your take-home pay is going to debt and 50% you're living on. Is it fun? No. Do you get out of debt faster? Yes. So use that. But anyways, so that's a simple way. But get on track, build that budget, identify those categories. If you didn't do this last year, that's okay. If you use like a software like Mint, open up Mint, import your transactions. It would take you a while. But if you really want to jump on this, go through, identify all the categories last year that you spent last year, and see what those categories are. Or maybe just do last 6 months, just based off the last 6 months, last 3 months. Like, just go and get some idea of where your money's going and start to attack it that way. So a couple final takeaways that I really want to leave you with is your finances is a journey, right? And hopefully you're treating it as such. Sometimes this journey can get hard. Sometimes it can be easy and fun, but it's nonetheless a journey. It's not fast. Sometimes it can get fast, but some parts of it are faster than others, but it's ultimately this nice, long, fun, enjoyable, slow journey, but enjoy it nonetheless. Okay. So find you an accountability partner, because I really want you to know you can do it. I don't care what your situation is. Your situation is not too bad. Your situation is not too hard. It's going to be difficult at times. I'm telling you, it's going to be difficult at times throughout this whole next year, but this whole next little time, it's going to be hard. But I want to leave you with the decisions, all these financial decisions that you're making today. They are affecting your tomorrow, your year, so your 2021, your family, whether your family that you have now or your family that you're going to have in the future, and ultimately this legacy or this longevity of the family that you're building, right? So don't waste time, first off, because as much that's out there, getting out of debt is a huge burden that needs to come off of people. But people are in control of their own destiny when it comes to that. Get rid of your debt, pay it off, get rid of it. But ultimately, don't cast blame. Don't look for people to blame. Don't look for things to blame, because you are in control of you. And always remember that. In all parts of life, you are in control of you. Nobody can affect how you feel. Nobody can affect how you react to your financial situation. Nobody can affect your financial situation, because it's your financial situation, okay? So don't cast blame on yourself. Just admit to yourself and then move forward and make the things necessary to change. So if you ever need financial coaching, I am available. I do not mind helping coaching and giving, helping guide you out of your situation. Link to my contact forms in the description below. Just please reach out and we can do some one-on-one coaching to help get you out of your whatever financial situation you're in, whatever that is. But ultimately, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you're listening to this on a podcast, leave a 5-star review, subscribe to the podcast. You'll see all the new episodes as they come out. New episode releases every Tuesday, and it truly helps me out by obviously getting the word out more. The more reviews and the more subscriptions that are out there, the higher chance more people get to seeing this. And ultimately, if you enjoy the stream, if you enjoy the video, please subscribe on YouTube. Like the video and like the videos on Facebook if you're watching via that platform. But ultimately, I appreciate it. I'm glad everybody was able to join today, and I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Peace.